What's up, guys? Mr. Fit to Flourish here, and today I wanted to talk about stocks and coffee for the upcoming week of June 2nd, 2025. What happened this past week, and what should we be looking for this week in the market? So this is brought to you by First Team Investing, so my boy K5 and myself, Fit to Flourish. We usually do these on Sunday, 11 a.m. in the Discord. 3-day free trial in the Discord, currently still going. We're going to take that off pretty soon, but if you want to join and see how we trade live with us. We've taught a couple traders to get to that six-figure level in a week, which is kind of crazy. And we've taught a ton of traders getting to even five to six figures a year. All right, so let's keep it going. Anyways, the goal of a successful trader is to make the best trades. Money is secondary. This is from Alexander Elder. So process beats outcome, and discipline leads the way. So no matter the ticker or the trend. All right. Great team this week. We had a ton of good plays. We had Google calls that went up 70 to 150% for some people. SPY calls, and then puts later on in the week. We had NVIDIA puts late in the week. PLTR calls late in the week as well on news. So when there's volatility, there is opportunity. Again, like I said, we are running this 3-day free trial. We're also doing a yacht mastermind mixer that is free for our members. We're doing that in Tampa. It's going to be insane. Out on the yacht again this year. Pretty cool. Anyways, earnings this past week. So NVIDIA had a great earnings. Revenue of $39.3 billion, 78% year over year, driven by strong demand for AI solutions and record Blackwell sales. All right. So what happened? We saw NVIDIA absolutely rip the night after earnings, and then it was just a liquidity sweep is what we found out the next day. We saw a weakness pre-market. We couldn't hold those levels and absolutely filled the gap with the quickness. So yeah, the stock experienced a ton of volatility. But forward guidance, we expect continued robust growth as NVIDIA is projecting Q1 fiscal year 2026 revenue of $43 billion, which is surpassing analyst expectations. Great company, NVIDIA. So Ulta also saw some great not great forward guidance, but great earnings. And then their forward guidance was a little bit more reserved, as they're more concerned with the effects of the tariffs. And then Costco had really great earnings, and the stock, the equity itself, actually rose 3.1%, breaking above a key buying point. Okay, and analysts started to raise price targets. Okay, alrighty. Economic data this past week. What happened? So we saw jobless claims increased by 6,000. Slightly above expectations, not too bueno, but PCE came in at the lowest annual rate since early 2021. It came in line with expectations, and it's a good sign, showing that we're approaching the Federal Reserve's 2% target. Okay? And in related news and buzz, what did we see? Early on in the week, we saw that Trump retracted his threats on the EU, and then midweek, it just got motherfucking crazy. So Wednesday, what did we see? After hours, we saw that, hey, the Supreme Court blocked Trump's tariffs, and the market went ballistic. So after hours, we saw crazy levels. So on SPY specifically, it closed around 591 on Wednesday, and then after hours, we saw it hovering around that $600 level. So a 9 to 10 point rip overnight on that news. But then in the morning, we saw that we opened right back at the previous day's close. And that's because Trump's administration said, hey, we're calling cap, okay? Calling cap, no calling Kaepernick. But they filed an appeal to block the Supreme Court ruling, okay? So what's going on? Tariff war is escalating again. So it's kind of a lot of back and forth. This is probably some of the craziest, this is probably one of the craziest trading environments of all time, to be honest. And then in more news, we saw Elon Musk leaving Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, and President Trump actually gave him a golden key, and that was pretty cool on Friday. What else is going on? So we saw GameStop actually purchase more Bitcoin. So GameStop, we talked about previously, is trying to position themselves to be kind of like MSTR, where it's this model where you have this failing company. You're like, F it, let's just put all our money into Bitcoin. So that our market cap is pretty much just Bitcoin, and it'll move as Bitcoin moves, because Bitcoin, although it is a kind of a risky asset, it is one of the quickest and fastest growing assets in the world, honestly. So yeah, but what's happening currently? Bitcoin actually started tanking after their purchase. So we saw Bitcoin reach pretty much all-time highs this week, around $112,000 per Bitcoin, and now it's tanking. All right, it's tanking with all this back and forth, and investors are kind of like, oh man, well, it's time to be risk off, and actually time to take profit, because just a few weeks ago, in the beginning of May, we saw Bitcoin reach around $71,000. So that $111,000 levels up, what, 60, 50%, something crazy. Okay, almost 60%. All right, but what are hedge funds doing? So hedge funds are largely shorting the markets right now. So as of late May 2025, hedge funds have significantly increased their short selling activities, reflecting on a cautious stance amid market volatility. Okay, and more notably, Goldman Sachs reported the largest notional net selling of global equities on record, with short sales outpacing long sales at an 8-to-1 ratio. And it's also the most shorts that in May, we've seen the most shorts that we've seen in almost 10 years. Okay, and then keep in mind, one thing to look forward to is June 18th. We have our next FOMC. Tesla in June is going to be having a robotaxi ride-hailing event. They're also planning on package delivery and possibly food delivery too. So if they get into these areas, like I said, Tesla, or like I'm going to say in my video tomorrow, Tesla is going to be on its way for a pretty phenomenal trade, possibly. So look out for the video that I'm dropping tomorrow. All right, year-to-date performance, take a look at that. And then our market outlook, what do we think? So right now, what do I think at least is that we ended May pretty strong. Okay, the thing that people usually say is sell in May and go away or something like that. But we ended May pretty strong. So SPY's up almost 30 points on the month. Markets don't like uncertainty though. So we're continuing this cautious but optimistic outlook. So on pullbacks, you want to be kind of buying in, because we're going to probably see a ridiculous rally towards the end of the year. But we're also still in this macro bullish phase in this bull market, okay, this long time bull market. But it looks like we will pull back short term because tariff news is kind of wavering, okay. But still, there's gaps to fill to the downside, and we're facing insane resistance here. Okay, pretty insane resistance. So we want to use small size unless we get obviously bullish news and break these levels. And then in terms of earnings upcoming this week, we have DocuSign, we have Lulu, we have Crowd, Fuel Cell Energy, and Dollar General, to say the least. And then we also have NEO. NEO fell from grace during that COVID rally, but that's here nor there. Right. And then economic data for this week, we have Monday, ISM manufacturing, Tuesday, JOLTS job openings, Wednesday, ADP employment, Thursday, initial jobless claims, and then Friday, U.S. unemployment. Okay. And then no potential long-term additions here that I'm seeing, but there are going to be some pretty nice pullbacks. Again, Google, I kind of like at this area at about a 19 PE ratio, and then Meta, a couple of these other stocks are going to be pulling back pretty significantly shortly. What are we watching this week? Tesla for rippers, and then probably some of our dippers are going to be these guys here: SPY, Google, Nvidia, and PLTR, as they are at pretty critical resistance levels. PLTR at all-time highs currently, struggling at that 130 level. Okay. But yeah, anyways, that's all I have for you guys for stocks and coffee this week. Stay tuned for the video tomorrow where we talk about technical analysis on what I'm looking at this week and what levels to be watching. It's your boy, Mr. Fit to Flourish, and I'm out. Good morning, welcome to the Fit to Flourish podcast. Let's talk wellness, finance, and growth.